Hi, this is a quick movie taking you through running the Princeton Instruments Pro EM camera inside MicroManager. So the first thing you need to do is set up the camera using Princeton Instruments PVCam. So if you install the card in the computer and then run PVCam, which is available from the Princeton website, and this is version 2.7.4.2. When you install the software, you should find that it'll automatically detect and set up the card for you, which is available here, and you'll see that if the driver's been installed correctly, it should change the driver to be the Pro 1000 grabber adapter, and you should get this number here with PI at the end. You can check it's the correct driver if you come in here, and it's the PlayAura Technologies version. If that's in, then that's correct. You also need to make sure that there's no version of PVCam that's been previously installed on the machine. So if you run the Photometrics PVCam, you'll need to remove that before you start. If everything's been set up correctly, then you can come into rsconfig here, and it should open up the software for us, and we'll see that we've got a camera detected as camera 1, so we're good to go. Once we've done that, we can run the MicroManager software. So this is the latest version from the MicroManager website, which is www.micro-manager.org, and it's version 1.3.46. When we open up the software, you get the option here to load your config file. So the easiest thing to do is to create a new config file. So if you select None and then click OK, and then inside this dialog box, if we come to Tools and Hardware Configuration Wizard, we can start to set up the camera. So we're going to create a new file, and this is where we can also set up other automated components we want to control. So we're going to add our component here, and you can see we've got control of ASI stages and prior controllers and all the various different automated microscopes and so on. But so we're just interested in the Princeton camera, so if we come down here and highlight Princeton camera and then click Add, and we're going to call it Pro EM, and then click OK, done, and then just work our way through the rest of these options here. As I said, because we've only got the camera, we don't need to worry about the vast majority of these things. There we go. So let's give it a name, and we're going to call this Pro EM 1 and save, and then let's just test it and make sure it's worked properly. If we see success here, then it's all in as it should be. There we go. So we're ready to start now. The camera I've got here is the Pro EM 1024. So it's the 1024 by 1024 back illuminated sensor, which will go at about 8 frames a second. So if we need to enter in exposure time. The other thing to note is that this camera only runs in clear pre-sequence. So if we come into the device property browser, we can see all the various different controls here, and you can see it's default set to clear pre-sequence. We can't change this to clear pre-expose. This means you can't have an exposure time that's shorter than our read time, because all that will happen is your first image will be at your shorter exposure time, and every subsequent image will actually be at as fast as the camera can go, which is about 8 frames a second, so it's going to be about 120 milliseconds. In here we've got control of gain states. Let's set to gain state 2. We've got control of triggers and everything else, and in here as well we've got control of our multiplier gain, so I can up this, and this is our linearized scale, so it's 0 to 1000 linearized. So most of the time you're going to want to default to about 250, because that will get you over the read noise. I actually don't have the camera on the microscope at the moment, so we don't need to worry about the EM gain too much at this time, but as I said, about 250 is the place where you want to be. So I'm pretty happy with how this is set up, so let's close that, and then let's just go live. And if I give us a little bit of light, we're just looking at a wall on the other side of the office, so I'll grant you it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but we can see as I move the camera around, we're getting our nice live preview. In this dialog box you can see I've set it to auto stretch, which means it's automatically going to clip the histogram, which is obviously really useful when you're looking at low light samples. If you wanted to snap an image, it's just click snap, and the image appears here, and then you go to file and save as, and we can save it as a TIFF and a JPEG and whatever else we want to. But let's get rid of that. The other thing we may want to do is take a movie. So if we're looking to do that, if we go to the burst option here, you can enter in the number of frames you want. So I've set 8. You can set the prefix that you want to call the file and where we're going to want to save it to. You can either output to disk or screen. So disk is obviously going to write to hard disk, and screen is just going to save in RAM. So I just click go, it will start our acquisition, and we've got our 8 images and our movie here. So as we play along, as I said, we're going to expect about a second's worth of data, because I say the camera goes at about 8 frames a second. which is excellent. I hope that helps. If you get any questions, then please contact your local Princeton Instruments office or dealer. Thanks very much.